Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. It's your boy Kevin Thornton. You have tuned into the Wellness Architect Show. Excuse me. Today is Monday, November 18th, 2019, and it's a great day in the ATL. I have a great show today. I have an extraordinary guest that does many things. He's a true Renaissance man, I should say. Come to find out, as I was researching him, he is from my hometown.
The land.
So then, therefore, I know he's a great man as it is. But I will talk about him a little bit in a minute. I want to thank everybody once again for supporting the show for the past 3 years. I want to thank all our new members that's coming from New Jersey, Baltimore, Japan, Ghana, Uganda, Ontario, Canada, and all those great places. Thank you so much for supporting us. 2 days I want you guys to remember, to mark down. December 2nd of 2019, I will have the Minister of Wellness on the show. The Minister of Wellness is a health coach. He's out of St. Louis, Missouri, and he's really big on health and wellness. He has a real big YouTube platform, so all the questions you've been asking about that me and Lotus been talking about, he's going to help confirm some stuff that we've been discussing. And then on December 16th, I just got this brother to come back and do it with me. We're going to have the men's round table discussion. The only female present is going to be Lotus. But we're going to have a sit-down conversation. It's going to be the men that are over 40 with the millennials. And we're going to have a sit-down conversation and try to connect and build a union. So mark those dates down. Without further ado, my lovely co-host, Lotus Riche. How you doing, ma'am?
Hey, Kevin. Good to see you again. Happy to be here. Will!
What's happening?
Will, hello. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome back from your tour, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that later. So I want to welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for joining us again for another fabulous Monday. And we are just we always want to bring inspiration to the nation. So I've got a word for you today. And the word is S-A-R-T, right? No, it's S-T-A-R-T. Anybody knows what that spells? That spells start. A lot of people oftentimes say that they have problems with getting their business going. They have problems with pushing people out of their lives that don't deserve to be in their lives. And sometimes they just want to just do something different. Especially when we got a new year coming up, many people want to do something different. Well, you have to S-T-A-R-T. You have to start. And let me tell you, according to Webster's Dictionary, start says to come into being, begin, or be reckoned from a particular point in time or space. To cause something to come about. So what I'm saying to you today is put all your excuses aside. Everything that held you down this year or last year, don't let it stop you. And just S-T-A-R-T. Just start. You don't have to stop. You don't have to stumble. And even if you do stumble, just keep going. So start whatever project it is. Start whatever new business it is. And don't give up. And start. And you can start today. Right now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Appreciate that. Our guest is an author. He's a motivational speaker. He's an actor. He is a life coach. So he's like a true Renaissance man. His name is Mr. Will Jackson. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to be here to be able to share with you guys.
All right. So tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how you get to this point right here, right now.
Awesome. Well, my name is William Jackson. As my brother in arms have stated earlier, I hail from Cleveland, Ohio, as we call it, the land.
Yes, sir.
And I am an actor, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, life coach, I'm an artist, a musician, a producer. I got a lot of different things going. I believe in maximizing all the gifts and talents that God has given you. You know, some people say you can't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. I believe that it's imperative to work on everything that God has given you, so that when it's your time and when it's your time to maximize opportunity, you have the resources and the skill set and the readiness to seize the opportunity to the maximum exposure. So got a few things going. As you see in front of me, I got a book out. It's called When Life Happens. It's available on Amazon and all digital major retailers. And the book in itself is, I call it Life's Playbook. It's a book for real people who deal with real issues to help you matriculate through real life successfully. So in every stage of life, whether you coming in a storm or you just coming out of a storm, wherever you find yourself, there's a chapter or a section in the book that's for you. And a lot of it was written through my own personal experience and things that I've endured. And I have an album out. It's called Unbreakable. It's on iTunes and Spotify and all major digital retailers as well. And it sort of coincides with the book. I call it, I put it in the genre of life music. Because it's wherever you find yourself, whether you're in celebration or you're in struggle or you find yourself in a broken place or wherever you are, there's some music on there for you. So, and then I'm touring on a show called The Truth About Black Men. Okay. And that's an excellent show that is star-studded. It has stars on there such as Hattie, with Patrice Lovely. She plays Hattie in all of Tyler's Boo 1, Boo 2, Medea's Family Funeral. My brother Don from Black Ink Crew Chicago. My brothers the Hamiltons, who have a new album out. You should go to wherever you purchase your music and support that. It's good music. It's feel-good music, and it's bringing back the classic essence of what music is supposed to be like. So we got a lot of things cooking, man. You know, you know where we come from. We don't like to sit still for too long. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
All right. Lois, I'll let you start off first. What's your questions you got for Mr. Jackson?
Well, I don't have a question. I have a comment first.
Okay.
The comment is, I was waiting for Will to get to the point to say that he sings. He has this phenomenal song, and it's called You Deserve to Win, or I Deserve to Win.
Yeah.
It is so wonderful. He was on with Les Brown, and he actually sung the song live with Les Brown. But unfortunately, we don't have his keyboard or anything in front of us right now, unless I would put him right on the spot. But I wanted to say that because the song is phenomenal.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
from time to time, with his permission, when I go live, I'm going to be playing that in my background because so many people feel so hopeless and so helpless, and they don't really believe or think they deserve to win.
Yeah.
His song brings hope to the masses to let them know that they deserve to win. So my first question now, Will, is what inspired you to write that song?
Hold on one second. Hey, Will, Lois, can you put your headphones in?
Sure, I will. Hold on one second. Is that better? Hold on one second. Okay, is that any better?
Yep.
Okay, much better. Let me move this over right quick. Okay, how's that? How's that?
That's better.
All right, fantastic.
Now, what was your question again? I'm sorry.
So my question was, and I think I know why it's a little low. Let me turn my volume up here, because I got my volume off on the computer, actually. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. My first question for you, Will, is this. What made you write that song, I Deserve to Win?
Well, the album within itself is really like my journey. And I've been through a lot of different things in life. And like most, I speak for men, when you go through things one after another, and it seems like it's continuous and repetitious, and you come out of one storm and right into another, you sometimes have a moment to where you can question where you are in life, your dreams, your goals. And in a low moment, that song sort of came to me where I had to realize that no matter where you are, no matter what you're facing, everybody deserves to win. You have gifts and talents, and you have things inside of you that the world needs, and you deserve an opportunity to reach the maximum height of your platform. There is nothing that can stop you. So the song within itself came to me in a low moment where it was almost like God reminding me that you do deserve it. I don't care what happens in your life or what you're facing, what it looks like. And if you can lock that in your thought process that you deserve more, then the thought then filters down into your emotions, and then it starts to connect with you, and then it comes out in your actions. And you can't go after more if you don't first believe that you deserve more. So that's where the song came from.
That's a good point. And I think a lot of times too, especially people like us that are like servants.
Yeah.
We tend to not really realize we deserve financial abundance.
Yeah.
For what we do. We tend to try to downplay what we do.
Yeah.
Say that money's not an issue, but really, we should be, paid for what we do.
Yeah.
And I think so. Therefore, we have this mindset that we don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, even with us, we have to change that mindset,
Yeah.
change that switch, to say, yeah, you do deserve it.
Exactly.
And then therefore, you will attract a different clientele, people that is ready to
invest
in you.
Yep.
So, my question is, what made you okay, I will talk about this outside the air.
Okay. Yeah.
We both have a passion for men.
Sure.
What's your reason for being so passionate about the men?
My passion for men is because a lot of men don't have support. A lot of things that I've been through in life, I had to learn and grow through on my own. I had to figure out how to put the pieces back together. I had to figure out how to build something, how to not only write an album, but to record it and do the music, and then the channels in order to get it out. Everything that I've done, I've had support, but it was a lot of learning curves. And for men who are called to lead and to be heads and to be kings and to reign from a place of rulership, if you don't have any help or any support, oftentimes you end up just going with the flow and you don't maximize your life. So my passion for men is just trying to get men to understand first their royalty and who they are called to be, and then motivating them and having them the desire to go after it, because life can beat you down,
right?
And it can take that desire from you, and then you no longer, if you don't want it, regardless as to if you recognize that you have greatness on the inside of you, if there's nothing pushing you towards greatness, you'll just settle for mediocrity.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true. So, having said that, Will, I wanted to touch on something in your book. When you wrote your introduction in your book, you talked about how things kind of turn really tough in your life and how you experience storms in your life. And I like the way that you engaged your readers, because you asked the question, hey, have you ever had storms in your life and they seem to just keep raging on, and it's like one thing after another and one thing after another, and then you're really upset with yourself because it's raining outside and you can't make it stop raining.
Yeah.
And you're wondering why I can't make it stop raining. But you let people know that the rain is beyond you. And some things are not meant for you to fight. It's really meant, and in my words, it's just meant for you to flow. And I love that you did that, because so many people are in the storm of life and they never really understand what phase they're in and sometimes why they're in that phase. But what I like that you made so crystal clear is that many times these phases keep coming on and on and on. But you stood back and you analyzed it and you said, okay, why is this happening? When does it happen? When am I most vulnerable? And how do I maneuver through this storm? And how do I get out of the storm and still stay intact? And I used that today with someone who was going through the storm. And in fact, I told them, I said, I'm reading this book. The gentleman's going to be on our show tonight. You need to listen in because they're going through a storm. And a lot of times when we go through storms, we feel so all alone. So that's why I love it when you talked about it here in your book. And then when you talked about nouns.
Yeah.
You tell people that people, places, and things, everything affects us, and everything also can contribute to our storm. So can you kind of expound a little bit about what made you talk about that? Because a lot of times people don't like to talk about their storms.
Yeah, for me, I think everything shifted for me when I was able to shift my perspective on the storm. A lot of times we focus on the negative aspects of it, what I've lost, what was broken, what was taken from me, having to rebuild, and we never or very seldomly focus on the positive aspects of pain. When you think about pain, the only thing that you necessarily associate it with is how uncomfortable it is. It hurts, but a lot of times we don't understand that what hurts us the most helped us the most.
Yes.
It's like an athlete who's training, and you go into a rigorous training, and you're lifting weights, and you're doing a lot of things that's punishing your body. It hurts. It's uncomfortable, but the reason why they're able to get up every day and do something that's uncomfortable is because they realize that this pain is producing more promise and possibility for me. So once you can start and really see that that's not just from a physical aspect, but in all areas of life, that the pain is producing growth in you, hence the term growing pains. It's uncomfortable. And I talk about that in the book, that it's uncomfortable when you start growing, but a teenage boy is excited when he feels those pains, because he realizes that when this summer is over, I'll probably grow another 2 inches. So when you can associate the pain with the possibility of the promise, then it sort of shifts your perspective. So it's almost like I'm okay with the hurt because I know the hurt is pushing me, it's developing me, it's creating a greater strength within me so that I'm able to access more in life. So when I shifted my perspective on pain, it then got to the point to where, okay, it hurts. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Do I wish I didn't have to go through that one? Yeah. Do I wish it was over? Yeah. However, I know that God sees something that I don't see. So if he's allowing it, it's because he's using it to push me into a greater area of purpose.
I love that part, and I read that part, and when I got to that part, I was like, wow, being a prior athlete myself, I can really identify with what you're saying, because I remember my basketball coach, she would just push us to the brink.
Yeah.
And just when we thought it was over, it wasn't over. She was like, no, go again. Even when I was in the military, they would have us working out, and if one person messed up, we all had to get in there and do it all over again. And I remember we were on this thing called the grinder down in Florida when I was in boot camp, and the grinder would put these little dots in your hand because it's concrete and you're on there in push-up position for so long. But at the end of the boot camp, when you had to do your physical fitness test to be able to go to the next level, we were able to do it. Why? Because we endured the pain. And at that time, we didn't understand. I mean, you got kids, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids going into the military. They're not understanding that unless they're athletes most of the time. But it helped prepare us through the pain to get to prosperity. And I thought that was magnificent that you were able to write it so eloquently and help people really identify with, hey, you might be going through some pain now, but if you stick in there and you stick it out, you can make it to the light that's at the end of that tunnel.
That's good. You know what? When you was talking earlier, you said you have all these different gifts and talents, and you want to maximize all of them. It took me back to, I was talking to somebody at the barbershop, and they have multiple gifts and talents as well.
Yeah.
But they were too scared to focus on trying to develop each of them at the same time. So they felt like, okay, let me just focus on this.
Yeah.
and then once I get comfortable with this, then I'll do this.
Yeah.
But I said, well, why can't you try to develop both of them?
Mm-hmm.
And because it might be a season for what you're doing right now. I said, evidently, because if it's being put on your spirit to try to make a change and create a change, that means it's something for you to do.
Yeah.
And your fear of, not getting it right or failing is saying, I'm going to do what I know I can do right now.
Yeah.
What's comfortable right now, because I can't see how I can maximize or excel in this just yet.
Yeah. I believe that for those who are called to multiple areas in life and giftings and purpose, and moguls don't think either or. They think both and. Not how can I do this or this. It's how can I do both of these and then add something else to it, because that's how you build empires. You know. And it's okay to focus on one thing, but I don't feel like it's ever okay to let other parts of who you are die because of the fear of the unknown. Because everything that you start, you haven't done it before.
Right.
So just like the skill that they've developed to the point to where they are, being a barber or whatever the case may be, you have to start somewhere.
Right.
And that's what Lotus talked about. It's just starting. It's failure. I don't actually believe in necessarily failure, because a lot of times you didn't fail FAIL, you fail FELL.
Right.
So you didn't fail, you fail, and the only failure is not getting back up after you fall.
Absolutely.
So it's giftings and opportunity and access. It all starts with the mindset and knowing that you can have it, you deserve to have it, and God didn't give it to you just to waste it.
So what did you do? Because you said that when you were going through your storm, one of the things you had to do was change your mindset. What did you do to change the mindset of how you thought?
I believe in giving your mind direction, right? I believe in controlling the narrative in your thought process. And the way you do that is you speak according to what you want to see. I believe it's impossible to speak something and think something different simultaneously.
Right.
So regardless as to if it hurts or if I don't feel good or whatever the case may be, I don't allow certain things to come out of my mouth, because then I give life to it. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is I would speak according to where I was headed or what I wanted to see, and in society they call it the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. What you put out, you get back, and it's declaring, it's confessing, it's commanding. And the more you speak something, even if you don't feel it, I'll give you a little brief insight into a couple of things that I've been through. In 2000, I had a sinus infection, and it spread to my brain, and fluid gathered on my brain, and it caused me to have a stroke. Wow. And I was completely paralyzed on the entire left side of my body, from my head to my feet. They would tell me to smile. Only the right side of my face would move. They would prick my hand till it bled, and I couldn't feel it. And I literally had to learn how to do everything over again, from walking to brushing my teeth. I could do nothing by myself. And I'm not saying that I'm a master at this, because there was a moment in that time when I was in the hospital where I gave up on myself. Mm-hmm. But it was through support and through prayer and just beginning to change what I said, that it got lodged in my mind that I was going to come out of this. And all you need is the belief that you're gonna make it out. Right. And you do that by changing what you see. So if you ain't got no money, I don't say I'm broke.
Right.
Right.
Because then I give life to it.
Right.
So you end up saying things like, I don't have the money now, but I'm on my way to being a billionaire.
Right.
Right.
And the more you rehearse that, it gets lodged in your thought process. Right. Then in your thoughts, it filters into your emotions and out into your actions, and that's how you approach life with confidence.
Love it. Love it. Lotus.
Awesome. So my question is, can you share with us how you came to the realization that people, things, and events really affect and influence how you maneuver through life, and even sometimes if you don't, because sometimes people stagnate us.
Oh yeah. I feel like all knowledge has a root in experience, and you experience certain things. You wherever you go, whoever you connect with, whatever you're around, they make deposits
Right.
with or without your knowledge or your consent. The people, I say this often, it's in the book too. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Because who you are associated with has the power to push you to your purpose or pull you away from it, unbeknownst to you.
Exactly.
And that's how people
Exactly.
look up 5 years have gone by and you're still in the same place, and you're like, how? How, when 5 years have passed, I've done nothing? I dare to say it's a lot to do with who you're connected to, with where you are, and with the things that you embrace.
Right.
The things that you hold on to. You'd be surprised how cleansing it is to just broaden your exposure when you just go to a different environment, to another city.
Right.
And that's why leaders are readers. When you read, you broaden your horizon. You're able to see more, think more, and see things from a different level. There are a lot of people who spend their entire life in one city, who never go anywhere, who never do anything. And then when you really look at the life, and I'm not saying that, it's anything wrong with that, but if you want more out of life, you have to expose yourself to more. People can only grow or operate to the level of their exposure. So it's when you address the people, the places, and the things in your life, the people that you're connected to, the places that you go, and the things that you allow into your heart, into your mind. Like, I don't allow people who talk negative or who complain around me.
Absolutely.
I don't allow it, because the things that you're saying, they are filtering through my ears, and they have power. Words have power.
Right.
And if you are constantly complaining, that mindset has the possibility of filtering. I can't risk it. So I'm always looking at the nouns in my life, the people, the places, and the things. And if you are constantly looking at those things and adjusting and making improvements and pruning, you get more out of life, and then you don't end up wasting time.
I would like to say, just to piggyback what you said, but the people, places, and things. About a year ago or so ago, I had a young lady who reached out to me, and she wanted to pretty much do like a co-host gig with me, and she wanted to do like the inspirational thought and all that kind of stuff. And so I was say okay, but then when it was time, she said she wasn't ready. So I let it go, and at that time, Lotus had moved away, and I didn't know where she was at. And then at the right time, we reconnected, and I had her on the show. She came in town, I had her on the show, and it just hit me. Okay, this is the person that's going to help you take it to another level.
Yeah.
Because you already had it on your mind that you wanted somebody else.
Yeah.
To help piggyback with you on the show. The person who came to me was just the person to plant the seed in my spirit.
Yeah.
Right.
But she wasn't the person that was actually supposed to do the show.
Yeah.
So when Lois came back and we connected, we always had that connection anyway.
Yeah.
It was just okay. God just revealed to me, this is the person
This is
that
it.
you're supposed to do it with. So we have the same connection, and we both had the same drive to see this grow into a whole nother space. And how I knew it was her, because she had asked me about potentially doing radio.
Okay.
And I said, well, you can just do it with me.
Yeah.
And we just call it
I
a day.
remember that.
And so so it's like a lot of times, like you said, God, the universe, whoever you believe in, they give you the roadmap of what you're going to be, who you're supposed to be with. It's just up to us to go ahead and embrace it and go forward, move forward. So all that you said is very, very true.
Yes, sir.
And the thing about it is that we were able to help other people. Around that time, there was a big push because there were children who were suiciding. And around that time, there was a 6-year-old up in the Douglasville area that had suicided. And myself, Sheandra Hardy, and Jessica Frazier, and a couple other folks were gathered together, even from over in Japan. Angela Elting came over, and John Kuzmano, he came over and really helped out the push on suicide awareness. And we were able to do workshops, and we were able to really change people's lives. But fundamentally, it happened because of my connection with Kevin, and we were able to help people. We were able to save lives, and we were able to let people know, look, you're not alone, and someone does care, and people do love you. And I tell you, when you follow what you're supposed to do, as opposed to following what someone else wants you to do all the time, it usually will be very fruitful, but not just for you, but for the masses, because when we do what we are ordained to do, it's really not about us.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really much greater than we could ever fathom it could be. It's much greater.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, my next question is, what's next for you? Because you got so much going on. You got an album out. You going to go back on tour with your show. You got the book. What's next?
The sky's the limit. I feel like until everything that I'm working on is the number one in its field, there's work to be done.
Absolutely.
Until my book is New York Times #1 best-selling, until my album is a diamond-selling album, until the shows and the things that I'm working on are the number one in its perspective field. There's work to be done. There's a lot of great opportunities that are actually about to kick off here within the next month, and we're excited about a lot of big things. And we'll come back on, and when those things pop off, and we'll give you the exclusive and the insight on it. But I just feel like it's always something to be working on. If nobody has ever arrived, even those who are at the top of their field, then you have to work twice as hard because there's someone that's coming behind you who wants that spot. So there's never, you can enjoy the journey and embrace the process, but there's always something to work on.
So what would you say to people who say they don't have enough time to do all the things they want to do?
Regardless, as to feel like if you don't have enough time, it starts with the mindset and the mentality that you don't. There is opportunity to maximize minutes, seconds of every day, unless you are literally working from the time that you wake up until the time that you go to sleep, and you're only averaging 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night. There's an opportunity. When you're riding in the car, you could turn on your voice notes on your phone and just speak out the ideas that's in your head while you're on your lunch break, instead of spending however much on the meal that you want to eat. You can invest in a book, a Kindle version, $9.99 of something in your field that develops you. When life happens, you can invest in that now. There's opportunity. There's time everywhere. It's just, and I get it. When you're under a lot of pressure, it's hard to see that there is opportunity for you. There is time for you. There is access to you because of the pressure that you're under. But until you get desperate enough to change being under that pressure to applying the pressure, then you'll stay in that same place. You got to get fed up with mediocrity. You have to be fed up with the stress of going to a job that you can't stand. You got to, if you haven't got to that place where you're willing to sacrifice sleep, then you're not at the place where you really want it bad enough. Because when you give 8, 9, 10, 12 13, 14, 15 hours to a job, and you can't stand it, and you're stressed, and you're driving to work every morning, and your mood is somber because you're heading into a work environment that is negatively impacting you, until you get to that point to where you say, I have to do something, you can steal a few moments at work. Like I said, when you go on your lunch, there's opportunity to maximize time everywhere. You just got to want it bad enough.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, Kevin, you asked Will what was next for him. And I don't think Will knew this, but I know one thing that's next for him.
What's that?
A question. Okay, so I got a question. Whoa, I have a few questions. So you guys see me looking away because I am swamped with questions and folks from all over saying, one, hello, Zanaya Betty, Morgan University is watching.
Sweet.
Out of Newark, New Jersey, Quanisha Brown, Daisy out of South Carolina. Love the show, Kevin. Sheandra Hardy, she's watching us. Alethea, somebody else just chimed in. I'm sorry, I got to go back. Alethea is with us. And Alethea Warren says, hey, Will.
What's happening?
Alicia Heath says, William. And Sheandra
Felicia,
Hardy
that's my
has
sister.
this question for you. She said, first, she said, yes, a storm is devastating. It's damaging. It's destructive. But it rebuilds, restores, and renews you to a higher level the higher level of discovering who you are and what you're made of.
Yeah.
So she definitely agrees with you. And then she had this question for you. Oh, also, the Mighty Queen, the playwright of Canvas, she says hello to you. And Sheandra Hardy says she will purchase your book. So we're going to put that information out later.
Thank you.
And Sheandra Hardy says, Will, what positive advice would you give young Black boys who are only seeing or hearing negativity all around them?
For those who only are experiencing, seeing, and hearing negativity around them, the first thing you got to do is address your nouns. You know, social media is an awesome platform, but it can also be rooted in a lot of drama, negativity, and your environment plays into a part in terms of how you approach life. If you're constantly just seeing, or you know of a young boy or young man who's constantly seeing and experiencing negativity, you have to be strategic about changing the narrative. You have to strategically create a plan. If you can't, that's not something that you can wing. So whether it be finding a program across town in another demographic with another ethnicity that you could just go to once a week to sort of expose yourself to something, taking a trip where there's a different culture, or there's certain things there's free programs all across the nation that you can invest in. And I used to do this thing when I was younger, and I still do it periodically, is I would find people who sit in the tops of fields that I want to be in, and I would reach out and I would ask them, could I take them to lunch, just for the opportunity to pick their brain. And you'd be surprised how many people sit with a desire to pour wealth and wisdom and insight and want to give you the game, but nobody's asking. Right. So it's I would just reach out to people. The worst that they can say is no. But you'd be surprised how many people literally are eager to share what they know. They want to help somebody. They want to see you win. But you gotta start shutting off access to the negativity, right? Whether there were times and seasons where literally I would go to work, I would do what I need to do, and then go home, because it was just so much going on in society and in community, and sometimes you just gotta shut off. You gotta shut in, and you gotta close off, because as long as you give it access, you give it power. Whatever you give access, you give power. So sometimes you gotta shut down. You gotta expose yourself And there's so many ways to expose yourself without being a financial burden. But you know, you just it whatever you desire, there's an outlet for it. So you just got to be willing to look for it.
And to piggyback off of that, before I moved down here, I used to be a member of the 100 Black Men of Indianapolis, and that was an outlet for the young boys as well. Because the mindset is what you see is what you be.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of times these young men came to us and they never had true exposure to men that was positive like that. And so you can see the change in them during the time that they are there. So like you said, if you put them in groups like that or other opportunities where they are around people with that kind of mindset, then it will ultimately affect the change in them. To piggyback what you said too is what I agree, and me and Lois talk about this all the time. I have a ritual that I do every morning. So like you said, the millionaires and the billionaires, they get up early.
Yeah.
So I'm up at 4, and so when I wake up, I hydrate, and then I meditate. I don't look at my phone. I don't turn on TV because I want to control what's coming to my spirit.
Yeah.
So I meditate first, and then I'll pray, and then from there, while I'm getting dressed, I'll either play some life music or I'll listen to something on like YouTube, some inspirational, motivational.
Yeah.
And then I'll go. Then I'll write into my gratitude journal, and then I'll go to the gym. And on the way to the gym, if I play some music, it's going to be something that's going to be like life music. It's going to feed my spirit because I want to be able to control the narrative that how I see my day. Right. Because a lot of times, if you turn on the TV, you turn on the news, the first 5-10 minutes is all negative.
All negative.
So then that feeds your spirit instantly. And then the same week, if you like the end of the night, if you what you watch on TV can make or break how you gonna start your day tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you watching all this stuff that's full of negativity, full of violence, then that's going to manifest into your spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's a lot of those different things play a part on how you see your life and all that kind of stuff. So I had to piggyback that.
And gentlemen, a couple of our viewers have chimed in as well. Daisy out of New Jersey said, I would tell them to believe in their self, our young men, try to stay close to positive people, have faith that they can be and do anything. And then Shiandra Hardy says that she's buying that book for her 19-year-old son because she said, I think he can benefit from it. And then we have Christine Gales. I hope I'm saying your name right. If I don't say your name right, please forgive me. You could spell it out or something and I'll get it. Christine Gales said, greetings, Felicia Heath. She says that she's watching. Christine Gales is from Cleveland, Ohio. So thank you for joining us from Cleveland. And Alan Millhouse says, what's up, bro? And still Sconsery. She said, hey, WJ. Okay. And Alan Millhouse said he's proud of you. Lena Taylor, hey, Lena Taylor out of Baltimore. Thank you for coming on. And Alan Millhouse said, we love and support you wholeheartedly. Your ladder shall be greater. Love that song for Vicky Winans too. I love that. Alan Millhouse, he has always had greatness in him. So he's talking about you, Will. He says you've always had greatness in you, and of course we know that's true. And Felicia Heath, she says that's good. Whatever you give access, you give power. She said that's wisdom.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for chiming in. We appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. You have any questions for us, Mr. Lotus?
You know I got a question.
I know you do. That's why I do it too.
So, from your book, on your page 15, I love when you talked about the good news and bad news. I like especially when you talk down in the lower paragraph when you said, in most cases, you are asked to choose which one you want to hear first. And then you said, really? Well, the thing about that is a lot of times what you said earlier is just true. we allow when we greet bad news over and over and over again because we don't change our vibration. And our vibration that we send out is oftentimes negative, especially when we're allowing negative people to come in. So, can you share a little bit about what inspired you to write about the good news, bad news? Because that's very powerful, because it tells people how they think. And then, can you tell us what you got from it after you analyze the good news, bad news?
Yeah, in the chapter I talk about, I believe the necessity in at all costs trying to keep good news and bad news separate. Regardless as to what order you get it in. If somebody tells you you have good news and you have bad news, instantly you begin bracing for bad news.
Yes.
Regardless as to how good the news may be. So I think it's imperative and a good life practice to just try to keep them separate so you can really maximize embracing the good news without having to minimize its impact according to the looming bad news that's on the way. Even if you get it first, then you'll miss pieces of the good news that come second because you're still trying to process pain. The mind has a way of establishing a point of reference marker in your brain for pain. That's why it's easier to remember painful situations, but it's not always as easy to vividly remember the good that has happened. If you got into a negative situation, you can remember where you were, you can remember what you had on, you can remember who was there, you can remember what they said, because the impact of the pain resonates so strongly. But if there was a good moment, you might not be able to tell me as many details because good news sometimes gets lost in translation. So I think it's imperative to keep them separate so that you can maximize the good news in the moment and fully embrace it without having to wait for the other shoe to drop.
Right. And I noticed in that chapter, if my memory serves me, you were when you started talking about it, you said, like basically I've got good news, but, and that you're so right. We get stuck in that but because we're so braced for that bad news. We turn our hearing, our mind, and our hearts off to the good news. And so when the good news do come, it doesn't seem as wonderful as it really should be, or as wonderfully as we should receive it, because we're still stuck on the but. Even if if the good news is, look, I'm gonna give you $1 million because I just won $64 million, but I can't give it to you till Wednesday, and today is Monday. So instead of us focusing on, wait a minute, Will just said he gonna give Kevin and Lotus $1 million. We get stuck on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Instead of the $1 million. And for many people, $1 million is a lot of money and it can change a lot of lives. But instead of looking at the change that could come, we stay stuck in the but.
Yeah.
And it prevents us from moving on. So I thought that was really, really powerful. I love the book. Reading it.
I appreciate it.
Magnificent. You have some love, Will. You got some love.
Okay.
And thank you for the thumbs up. Whoever just shot those thumbs up. Still, and I'm just gonna say still. You know who that is, right?
Still.
Sansari,
yeah.
Yeah, Sansari.
Yeah,
Okay,
sis,
I hope I'm saying that right. Sansari said, "Love you so much, little brother."
Love you too, sis.
So let me ask you this. You walked right into that. So how does a man say to his oldest sister, because I'm the younger sister, say to his oldest sister, stay focused and know that things are coming? Because really, when you look at the book, when life happens, things are always going to happen. Yeah. So how do you, as a younger man, say to older men or older women, still stay focused because the best is yet to come?
Well, I don't think that it's mainly based on the deliverer versus the person and the mindset of the person it's being delivered to. A lot of times people can't learn from younger people because in their mindset, I've already done that. I've already passed where you are. Right. and then they shut their mind off to the possibility of gaining wisdom from somebody who may be younger than you, or somebody who may be in a different field from you. So I think that it's more based on the person who's hearing the information, because if you have, like for me, I feel like I can learn from anything and anybody. So it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter what you've been through. Everybody has something to give to the world. And if you, like, for instance, if you go on Instagram now, there are child prodigies in the areas of acting and music, and kids that I'm twice their age who could play me under the table. It's when you lower the thought process that I can't learn from anybody who may be younger than me, then you open yourself up to a whole new world of access to knowledge and to wealth and to wisdom, because a lot of times God gives the best information to people who are younger, or because they don't have the point of reference of trying to dilute the information. It's like having the fearlessness of a child. A child is fearless. They'll jump off of a coffee table, try to slide down some stairs on a coffee pot. Just, they're fearless. They don't understand the point of reference that, okay, if I do this and I'm going to get hurt, because I remember the last time that I was hurt. So when you can go back to that mentality to say, okay, I can be whatever I want to be, and I can do whatever I want to do, and be open to information from wherever it comes, then I think that we have a larger possibility to achieve what we set out to achieve. So I think it's more so on the person that's listening, because from a very young age, I was always leading adults. And whether it be in music, or whether it be in business, or whether it be in ministry, or it didn't necessarily matter. And it's the person who's delivering just has to have the confidence in themselves and in the information, but also the person who is hearing the information has to be willing to receive.
I love that. I have a question for you, and it's pertaining to the fact that you have a passion for men. I have a passion for men. And like I said, I'm doing this show on the 16th, which you'll be part of. But my question to you is, since you're technically a millennial, what do you feel is the major disconnect from the millennials to my generation?
I think the disconnect within generation is the inability to receive from either generation. It's in men. I think it's pride. It's egocentric, ego driven when we get to the root of it, because a lot of older men say, "Oh, these kids, they can't teach me nothing." We set in our ways, and a lot of the younger kids feel like, "Oh, y'all don't understand. The older guys, y'all don't understand, so you can't teach me that." So it's that pride in believing that each one doesn't need the other. And it's when we let go of pride and we can open ourselves up to say, listen, I may have the wisdom, but you got the energy, or you may have the creativity, but I have the strategy, learning how to lean on one another. We can just do so much more together than we can apart. I think the disconnect is each one believing that they don't need the other.
I like it. So I asked this question to the young lady last week. I'm going to ask it to you. Do you feel that my generation and other generations have failed you? And if so, how?
Okay, now I'm different,
Okay.
right? I don't feel that anything in terms of life is a failure. I think that everything is a lesson. Right. And regardless as to if you had support, or if you had guidance, or you had somebody to be there for you, or all of it is a win for me. I live by the foundations and the teachings of the Bible. And the Bible says that all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. So when I don't have the support of man in any aspect, I have to trust the God who created man and know that when he created me, he had a plan for my life. So if some people who grew up in, in two-parent households and their dad is active and they're involved, that's a blessing. But it is not less of a blessing for the person who didn't, because you learn certain things, you grow through certain things, you endure certain things, and you get certain lessons in the valley that you don't get on the mountaintop. So like for me, my perspective shifts in if the question was, do you feel like the generators, the predecessors failed? I think everybody does to the best of their ability, because if you look at the generation before your generation, the dads in your generation are better than the dads before you. And so it's while it may not be quote unquote what each person may felt like they needed, it's about progress, and it's about everybody doing the best that they possibly can. Now, there are some times where, guys just are absent and, they don't feel the need to be invested, and in those areas, I still don't look at that as being failed, because I trust God who created me, who mapped out my entire life. If this person wasn't there for me, they weren't supposed to be there for me. And the lesson that I learned in this moment is going to help me for when I get to my place of success. So, I feel like, and I don't have children, but when I have children, my goal is going to be to create designed hardship, because I feel like the mentality of I'm just going to give my child the best life, and what I didn't have, what made me was the hard times. So it's the stuff that I had to grow through and endure, and I had to fall on my face sometimes, and those lessons developed something that was invaluable for me to maintain success.
Absolutely.
So one quick question, one quick thing, Kev. I wanna put this out there. King Cuts hit us up and said, "Beast mode, salute."
That's my brother.
King,
What's
keep
up,
rising the bar. And Tyrone Whitney, better known as I can't make that out, but he's watching all the way from Tennessee. And Sheandra Hardy said, "Lotus, can you play Will's song before the end of your talk show?" Well, I'll see what we could do. We got a super duper producer, so we might make that happen. And Sonsari, please give me a thumbs up if I'm saying that right. Sonsari. Okay. She said, "Yes, sir. You win some and you learn some." That's a very powerful statement right there.
Absolutely.
Very powerful statement. You have to learn.
And to piggyback to what you were saying, I was telling a young guy today whose father was not present in his life, and I said, he did the best that he could for who he was, and you got to embrace that. And don't look at it as a loss.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's part of your journey, and in that journey, God knew what you needed.
Yeah.
And you got it. That same fatherly attention from another man.
Yeah.
And that's how it's supposed to have been, because what you needed in this journey, your father can supply it to you.
Yeah.
And if you see it like that, it take away some of the hurt.
Oh yeah.
Because you look at it from under that it's not a loss. It's just you end up gaining in the long run.
Yeah.
So is your song on YouTube?
I don't. The link I don't necessarily is on. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. I know it's on like.
You should
Apple
have
Music
it, Kevin.
and
I sent
Spotify.
it over to you in your message.
Okay.
And I just want to let folks know we love to hear your comments and your remarks, and definitely your questions.
Yeah,
and we welcome you. You can call in to 470-251-4647 and ask Will any question you want to ask him concerning his book, concerning the play that he's currently a part of, even also about his new album that he has out.
Go next on Lotus real quick, please.
Say again? I'm sorry.
Go for the next question right quick. I'm trying to find the song for you.
Okay. Thank you for trying to find that song for me. So this is what I wanted to share with you folks. If you didn't hear me, We love your questions. We really appreciate them. They're very thought-provoking. So please don't hesitate. You can call us. Give us about 5 minutes. We're going to try to find that song for you. But give us a call. You can call us at 470-251-4647. And you can ask Will any question you want to know about his book, okay, that I may not have gotten to yet. Or you could text it to me and I'll surprise him with your question. Or you can also ask him about his wonderful new album that he has out. You can also ask him about the play. He's been on tour for quite a while. And from what I'm understanding, someone else is going to invite him to play a nice role in their upcoming play. I can't tell you who that is right now, but it'll come, and we'll let you know right here on the Kevin Thornton Wellness Architect Show. We'll definitely let you know. So while Will is trying to find that song for you, I want to talk to you guys really quick about something that Will said, okay, in his book. And I'll turn to it. It's in chapter 7 for those of you that have it. At the top, he says, "Is it over yet?" And then at the bottom, he has, "What is the majority decision causing you to do that you may have doubts about?" What are you doing things that you might have doubts about? Could it be that the company that you keep may be deterring you from the dreams, goals, and purpose for your life? Think about that. The people you are dealing with, are they deterring you from your life? Because if they are, like Will and Kevin and many of you said, if those people are deterring you, you got to move on. You got to give up the ghost and get going. Because if you don't, they're going to keep going and keep deterring you. And the last part of this is, how many times have you made decisions based on the wants of other people? Remember, the people connected to you will either push you towards your purpose or pull you away from it. There is no in between. And what Will says to all of us is, show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
All right,
So talk about that and shoot us some information.
So we are ready. So we're gonna play Will's song, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna discuss it. Here we go.
I've sacrificed so much of me to provide for my family. I've poured out my entire soul just to set my future free. Been knocked down so many times, been left for dead by friends of mine. Time and time again, and after all the things through that I've been, I deserve to win. I deserve to win. I deserve to win. Said I deserve to win. So much along the way, didn't think that I would see today, but I made it through that storm and rain, 'cause giving up ain't in my DNA. I've been let down so many times, been hurt the worst by loveless lies. Felt like it would never end, and after all the things through that I've been, I deserve to win. Said I deserve to win. I deserve to win. I deserve to win. Excuse me if I come across a little selfish. Or could it be that you're upset? You're no longer my soul. 'Cause I made a deserve to win. I deserve to win. I deserve to win.
Great song, sir.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So, look at my producer. So, that's a great song, first of all. How can people support your song or your album?
Yeah, the album is called Unbreakable, and it's on all major digital retailers. So it's on Amazon, it's on Apple Music, it's on Spotify. Wherever you can purchase music, you can stream it. You can just type in William Jackson Unbreakable, and you'll see the album there.
Okay.
And y'all know it's on my page, right? Go on get it, go on get it.
So you have a book out and an album out at the same time.
Yeah.
So my question is for you to explain to the people, how was you able to create the time to do both at the same time?
Well, like I said, for me, time has always pretty much been a little short because I've always had a lot going on, a lot of different things that I was working on, but I would make the sacrifice. And there were times when I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I would go and I would sit and I would write. And, in terms of music and the creative process, stuff comes to you at random times, so I could be driving down 285 and then all of a sudden a melody or a thought process would come to me in the song. And so you pick and choose in times how you can do it, because I didn't sit down and do a full album all at once. Mm-hmm. I didn't write a full book all at once. It was a process, but I became committed to the process. So, like my book, it took me like a year and a half to write, because there was a lot of stuff that was going on in life. But when it came to me, I would sit out and I would set aside time and I would write. And I really didn't start off trying to write a book. Stuff started coming to me. I started writing, and then all of a sudden I looked up and saw that we had something here. And so, you just got to be committed to the process. It's not going to happen overnight, but you got to know that the work is worth it. And once you value the work that you're putting in, then you put forth the effort.
Absolutely.
Lotus? And I love that you say that too, Will, because you've been such a genuine person. I remember the first day he called me, right? Because I reached out to him and he called me, and I was like, okay, who's this? Because his number wasn't locked in my phone. And he was like, hey, how you doing? This is Will. Right. And I was like, hey, Will, how you doing? Because I was genuinely excited and happy to hear from him. One, because of the song, it's just so powerful. But then also, I was like, okay, he's got this book out. And when I saw the book and it said, when life happens, you got to go a step further. It says how to go from trap to triumph. And I just love that title, because a lot of people get stuck and trapped and they don't know the way out so that they can triumph. And I was like, you know what? I really want to get to talk to him. I want to have him on the show, because Kevin, as you guys know, he loves doing everything that he can to promote the health and wellness of all people, but especially African American men, because there has been such a difficultness in this country for men of color. And when I saw Will and I got to hear a little bit about him, and I also listened to the interview that he did with Les Brown, I was like, yep, I've got to talk to him. I wanted to bring him on the show. And I was so happy when I reached out to Kevin. I said, listen, Kevin, this gentleman and Kevin is always so gracious and so kind. And he was like, yeah, let's bring him on. Let's bring him on. And so from that day till now, and this was over a month or so ago, right? First off.
Yep.
Every now and then we touch base, how you doing, whatever. And tonight he's here, and he's here for our guests so that you can ask him your questions, you can be inspired, and you can know that you deserve to win.
Well, first of all, thank you for everything you just said for him and I.
Yeah.
I am, I'm very unapologetic in the fact that, I want to inspire, educate, and empower people to be the best version of themselves, mind, body, and spirit, and financial wellness. But I don't apologize for trying to showcase black men in a positive light.
Yeah.
I can't apologize for that because it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna create a platform and to be an inspiration to other people, one of the things I want to do is to showcase black men in a different light because, mainstream media does not do that.
True.
No.
And if we're waiting for them to show us in a better light, we're gonna be waiting a long time.
Oh yeah.
So it's up to our responsibility, it's us. If we have podcasts, internet radio shows, YouTube, whatever you have, it's your duty to try to showcase the man in a different light, so you can control the narrative and let people see us in a different format than what they see on TV. So anytime she called me or she texted me, it's like, I got this brother, I'm already gung ho because, it's a black man doing great things.
Yeah.
So then she sent me the information and I go online and I see you and I'm like, okay. And then I do my research and I'm looking at your post and you're very inspirational, you're very motivational, and then you're this author, you this well-rounded Renaissance man.
I appreciate that.
Then you from Cleveland, so I had to have you. I had to have you because I just think it's just our duty.
Yeah.
And for you to come on the show, you have not disappointed.
Oh, I appreciate it. Look, we family now. Look, listen, we're going to build together, and I'm just, I'm excited, on platforms like these.
And, okay, so you said the key word, and see, I don't believe in coincidences, all that kind of stuff. A lot of times, even though this is someone she found you, for you to come to the program, and the connection here, it was not a coincidence. Yeah. And we both had the same goals and dreams to try to help black men.
Definitely. And
it was like, okay, I need to put these two together.
Yeah.
They got great things going on as individuals, but I know, and they in the same city.
Yeah.
We could figure out a way to do something in the city to help our brothers do better. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited what's coming out of the connection. Like you said, nothing is coincidence. Everything happens according to plan and according to timing. And, I'm excited about what we're all going to do together.
Absolutely.
Yes. I got something for you. Will, you've got Quanasia out of Newark, New Jersey. She says, wow, what a powerful song. You have Harriet Lewis, Songbird. She's out of California. I saw her just chime in. Sheandra Hardy, she said that was great. I love his song. It's a song of hope. I can see myself playing Will's song for my depression and suicidality. My suicide life coaching workshop to inspire individuals that there is hope.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. That's good.
And I'll have to sing your song out to Harriet Lewis. I think Harriet's on tour right now. I think she's in Dubai. And I'm sure she may not have heard your song, and maybe we could play it on the way out.
Oh, yeah. Come on,
Dubai.
Goals.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's good. That was the whole intent. Is just to find a way to get you the exposure that you need. I know, especially with Lotus being a military person, she has people all across the United States and international. So it's a great way for you to be seen and heard across the board. And
I'm definitely grateful.
So however we could do that, that was our intent. I know we have a big following in Africa, so I know they'll be listening for it as well too. So
awesome.
So
Kev, we got another question.
Sure.
Now, some of you don't have the book, and I know a lot of you gonna get the book, right? Right. Because Will gonna tell us how to get the book, because I already know how to get the book. But anyway, in chapter 9, Will, you talked about it's all in how you sway, S-W-A-Y. Can you kind of tell us what sway is and what you mean by that?
So the analogy of the sway, I talk about the palm trees. and their ability to withstand storms. It's because in their ability to be flexible and not resist or push against the force of the wind, but to blow with the wind. So being able to sway and be more fluid and less rigid, it gives you an opportunity to come out of the storm more intact than the oak tree who stands firm and doesn't budge, but loses a lot of limbs in the process of a storm. So, there's something to be said in your ability to be fluid within storms and to not be so set on this is how I have to go through it. This is how I have to come out of it. This is the specific time, the specific point, and the specific place. But being able to say, okay, I really don't have control over this storm. So let me find out what strategy I can learn in this in this moment. How can I be strategic? How can I be willing? And being willing to go through it, because a lot of times we waste time in storms complaining about why we shouldn't be there. And, we're unwilling to embrace the mentality that I have to go through this and I'm going to come out of it. So being willing and then adjusting, making adjustments within the storm, being able to make an adjustment to say, okay, this didn't work. Okay, so now I need to do this. Okay, I tried this. Okay, being fluid and then being willing to yield, right? So sway, I use it as an acronym, right? You strategically, willingly, strategic willingness in adjusting and yielding to the storm, right? So if you yield to it instead of trying to fight against it, you'll have a greater probability to come out whole and intact. But a lot of times we try to fight against it. I shouldn't be here. This shouldn't be happening to me. Well, why did this happen? And we don't want to change the behaviors that got us into the storm in the first place. Because a lot of times, if we're honest, we got into some stuff because of us. I know that there were some storms that I got into because I made mistakes. Mm-hmm. And if I don't adjust how I got there, then I'm just going to end up back there in the future. Absolutely. So being able to be strategic, to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to go through this. I'm going to stop complaining about it, making the adjustments that you need and yielding to the force of the storm, because once you realize that you're unbreakable, hence the name of the album, that you're going to go through it, but you're going to bounce back from it. And the palm tree gives us the perfect example, because the winds may blow, but one thing you got to realize is that you were built unbreakable. So regardless as to how strong the wind is, if you sway with it, you'll bounce back intact.
Wow.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, see, y'all, that's why you got to get the book.
Gotta get the book.
See, I'm getting all these golden nuggets. And I'm trying to share them with you. And the thing about it is that a lot of times we don't talk about our sway. We don't talk about being malleable to situations that transpire in our lives. And sometimes we are so rigid that sometimes we seem that we are broken because we just won't sway. We just have to be so pressed up against what's coming our way instead of saying, okay, Lord, I'm going to go ahead and bend. I'm going to stay in flow because I know that you already got me. So I'm going to stay in the flow and I'm going to sway with whatever is coming my way, because when I sway with it, okay, whatever punch is coming, it's not going to hit me as hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm still a moving target. When the depression comes, it's not going to hit me as hard because I'm still swaying. I'm still a moving target. So as long as you're keeping things in motion, as long as you're swaying, guess what? Depression is not going to stick for long.
Yeah.
It won't last. Yeah. Thoughts of suicide is not going to stick for long because you're swaying and hopefully in the direction of somebody that's going to say, guess what? God loves you and so do I. You have a purpose for being here. So you swaying and you staying in your flow. And I'm telling you, this book is just jam-packed, powerful, and I love that, Will, that you're here to really just tell people about it, so they don't have to listen to me. They can listen to
So I received a text, and they wanted to know from you. They heard Lois and my story of how we became who we are. They want to know how you become this author slash life coach. That how do you find that as your purpose?
Um, I think purpose is revealed through process, because I didn't start out wanting to be an author. I didn't start out wanting to be certain things that God had in store for me. But there are certain parts of life and purpose that are unlocked through your process. The more you grow and the more you evolve. But for me, it became important to me to help as many people as I possibly can not make the same mistakes that I did, and how to deal with certain areas of life and pain and whatever's necessary to get out of the situation intact with the things that you were designed to learn, but also as quickly as possible. I know in my process of growing and experiencing, there are times where I prolonged my season of pain because my perception was off, or because I was so focused on how it was affecting me that I missed out on how it was developing me. So everything for me, I've always just wanted to be one who wanted to help people. That's just always just been a part of me. So whatever process that includes is what I was always here for, just because nobody is an island unto themselves. You know, you need
Right.
community, you need support, you need guidance, you need somebody who can say, you know, hey, I've been there before. One of the quotes that I say, and it's a mantra that I live by, is a man who is unwilling to learn from the mistakes of another man is a danger to all men. So I'll say that again. A man that is unwilling to learn from the mistakes of another man is a danger to all men, because you're living reckless and you don't understand the necessity of learning and embracing wisdom and correction and guidance. And I think that's a lot of issue in terms of with the generation and how it is, with a lot of the younger kids who are out here. We have a lot of kids who are doing a lot of positive things, but for those who are sort of living reckless, is because they're void of that source of direction or support, or so it's for me, I got here just because I just wanted to help people, and I was willing to go through whatever was necessary for me to go through, so that I could help somebody else either not go through it or to go through it successfully. So for people like us that are servants, we endure a lot, and we go through a lot, but the only difference is we realize that everything that we go through is for somebody else. So it changes your mentality of why you go through, because if I can go through something and save someone else, then what I went through was worth it.
Absolutely. And so the follow-up question that either one of you guys could answer is, how do you know when God is showing you through the process your purpose? How do you know that's when it's supposed to be?
Oh, she want to jump in?
Ooh, that's a good one. Sure, I'll jump in. I think when you realize that God is showing you what your purpose is when you learn to listen. And I think Will has touched on that. Kevin has touched on that. We all have touched on that at some juncture. You have to learn to listen to that still voice inside of you, and be still in the moment, so that you can hear God's voice speaking to you. And it won't be jumbled. It will be just as clear as the nose on your face. And when you hear it, you will know, because it will be like no other voice that you've ever heard coming outside of you, because God is within you. So it will be coming from within to help you move to without. And that's how you'll know it is. And then you'll be certain. You will know that you know that you know. You will know so strongly that you will be willing to die for it. At least that's how it came to me. I knew it for certainty. And that's how you begin to know your purpose. And as you go, you will better understand your purpose, because the universe, through God's power, will begin to move people, places, and things to you to pull out the very best of you so that you can continue to pursue your purpose and come out intact and weather the storm. And every time you weather the storm, guess what? God is going to have someone there that you are supposed to connect with to help you get through. That's how you know it's God's voice. Because if God is leading you to it, God will bring you through it.
That's it, man.
Oh yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I would say too is understanding your purpose is rooted in the things that you're passionate about. You know, there's whether you have a burden for certain things or you're naturally inclined to certain things. Those things that's not just happenstance. That is God revealing to you pieces of who you were called and created to be. So when you have natural inclinations towards certain things, like I know people who are just humanitarians at heart, like all they want to do is get out in the streets and help people and help the homeless and give back. And like Kevin with the network, you just want to help and build men and people. And those are the things that tie into your purpose, the things that you're passionate about. It's your passions reveal the greater sense of who you are and who you were called to be.
Absolutely. Can you tell everybody how they can follow you, find you on all your social media?
Sure. So I would love to connect with you on Instagram. You can at the official WEJ2. So that's on Instagram at the official WEJ2. On Facebook, it's William Jackson. You can look me up and you'll see my picture there. On Twitter, it's official WEJ2. So I would love to connect with you. And if you have just any questions or any way that I can help, or we can just build and grow together, my email address is WILLE Jackson, JACKSON, the number 2 at gmail.com. So that's Will E Jackson 2 at gmail.com. So let's connect, man, and let's do life together.
All right. So tell them one more time how they can get your book.
So my book is available on all major digital retailers. You can go to Amazon right now and type in When Life Happens, William Jackson, and you'll see the cover come up. So it's on Amazon. It's in both paperback and the Kindle version. So whichever the way that you read, or if you want to put it on a device, or you want to have one tangible to hold and read through, you can get that on Amazon right now. The album Unbreakable is all major digital retailers. You can just look up William Jackson Unbreakable, and there's some songs on there that's really going to touch you and move you, like I Deserve to Win, and I appreciate all of the support.
All right. Last thing.
Yeah.
I want you to end it by speaking to you from your heart, wherever you feel is you being led to tell the audience.
Yeah. Well, just keeping in line with what we've been talking about today, it's imperative for you to know, wherever you are in life, that you deserve to win. There's a space called more that is designed for you to have access to. Wherever you are in life, you could be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or you can be in the hood on the block. It don't matter where you are. There's a space called more for you. And I know sometimes it's hard to see that when you're trapped and you don't understand how you're going to get out, and you don't know when the next meal is coming from, or when the help is coming, and you feel like you've been there for such a long time. It's important for you to know, just like I do daily, is you have to speak the things that you desire to see. The words have the power to shape the life that you live. You do not have to settle for a life beneath the purpose that God has created you for. You were created on purpose, for purpose, and with purpose. And God didn't make a mistake in creating you. You have everything inside of you. In order to win, you have to first believe that you deserve to win, and then you have to shift your mindset in figuring out how you're going to get to your winning lifestyle. You are a winner, regardless as if you see it or not. God has a purpose and a plan even for your pain, and if he allowed it, it's because he wants to use it. Trust me, God doesn't waste anything. There is nothing that you are going through, even though it caught you off guard, it didn't catch God off guard. God never has an oops moment. He never has a moment where he said, oh, I didn't see that coming. No, he saw your life from beginning to end and planned every single moment of your life. So trust the plan, trust the process, and know that the space of more that's designed for you is a space that you deserve. And if by chance you forget everything that I say, everything that we've said here tonight, 3 things never ever to forget in life. No matter where you go, you can do it all wrong or you can do it all right. God loves you. God believes in you. And so do I.
Love it. Lotus, tell everybody how they can find you. That those don't know.
Okay, you can find me right here every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Kevin Thornton Wellness Architect Show. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube at Lotus Riche Ignites, Life Coaching and Consulting, or just Lotus Riche Ignites. You can also reach me at 1-800-593-9733 if you need to have some one-on-one counseling. And also I wanted to share with you, for the person that talks about knowing your purpose, this is a great book to start with, The Pursuit of Purpose. This book is The Pursuit of Purpose by Dr. Sandra Brooks. We always love to give people something tangible that they can hold on and that they can read. And please don't forget to also read When Life Happens, Go From Trap to Triumph, because when you're in the crux of finding your purpose, you also have to know that life is going to happen, and when it happens, this book will help you along the way go from that feeling of being trapped to triumph. And I want to leave you with this tonight. The emotional state may cause you to feel the need to reach out for comfort, which may attach you to something or someone that was meant to pass by. I know it hurts. I've been there. I know you may not understand why. I've been there too. What I can say is that there is sunshine after the storm. I know I didn't want to hear that while I was in my storm either. But if you can for just a moment step out of emotion and strategically become willing to adjust your ability to heal, you will see that you have the power to make it through. It's all in how you sway. And my message to you is just get started.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm just going to end it like this. For the past 2 weeks, I feel that the universe is guiding Lois and I on the directions of what he's wanting us to do with this platform. Last week, we had people asking us to come to New Jersey. We're planning to go to Baltimore. We're going to sit down and have a conversation about that. To really have conversations about being the best version of themselves. And while we do that, we're going to incorporate me doing a mini tour, teaching my spin class. And now we bring this brother here, and it's like, okay, we have this connection to where, okay, we not a man who's doing great things himself, but he's really passionate and empowered to help our brothers, and that's something that I want to do. And so it's something that I know I will stay contacted with you.
Yeah.
And so we can figure out what the journey is with this.
Definitely.
With you. So I look forward to it. With
Hey,
that
Kev,
being, ma'am.
I wanted to say this too right quick to our viewers. We love you. We appreciate you. And always remember, when you come on, like, share, follow, and on our YouTube pages and every other page, subscribe, especially to Will. This is how we show our love to artists and creators like Will. Like, share, subscribe, follow,
And buy.
and definitely subscribe.
And buy. But so with that being said, I want to thank everybody again for tuning into the show. Please go and support this man. He's doing amazing things. He's an amazing spirit. With that being said, be great, be authentic, be unapologetic, be you. We're out. Peace.